MDOT has launched the Reality Check campaign to talk about the state of Michigan's roads. Joining me now for more on the campaign is James Blake, who's the communications representative for the department. James, thanks so much for being here. Tell us a little bit about this latest campaign.
Well, it really looks at some of the myths and misunderstandings, misconceptions that we hear routinely at our meetings, phone calls, emails, and we just wanted to clear some of those up.
What are some of those myths, those things that aren't true that people talk about?
Sure. Well, one of them, coming off of winter, is the use of salt. People think we're just being stingy with salt, when in reality, at certain temperatures, especially the particularly cold temperatures that we got this winter, salt doesn't work as intended. It'll melt the snow, but then it refreezes and makes things even worse than they were before. So there are lots of reasons why we do things, but they're not always understood.
And you mentioned in reality there, and that's the program is a reality check. Why did the department feel it was so important to get this information out to the drivers out there?
Well, we found that as many times as we've explained these misconceptions, we hear them again and again. And sometimes in response to these reality check installments, we hear some of those other myths that we're going to tackle in future installments.
It's probably a never-ending topic list for you.
All
right. One of the latest videos is about Michigan roads versus Ohio roads. Why did the department want to go and have that comparison?
Well, we hear about that often, particularly from drivers that cross over into the Ohio area. They say, Ohio's roads are so much better than Michigan. Why is this? And they've even gone so far as to suggest that we send our engineers down to Ohio to figure out how they do it so we can bring it here.
Okay.
We do the same things as they do in Ohio, but what it really comes down to is funding. Ohio has, for the past 9 years, spent $1 billion more each year than Michigan does on its roads, and it shows in the conditions.
It absolutely does. That's a big number, $1 billion a year for almost a decade now.
That's correct.
And also, Ohio does not, for the most part, have to deal with a lot of the weather, especially that we have to deal, and the toll that takes.
Exactly. Northern Michigan and the Upper Peninsula is a lot different than Ohio.
Yeah, a little bit. What are we hoping, or what are you hoping is the take-home message for people to go and check out the reality check?
Sure. Well, the governor and legislative leaders have called for additional funding for transportation. And a lot of the time when we talk about transportation funding, we're confronted with these myths. So we want to make sure that going forward, those conversations about funding don't get hung up by these myths and misunderstandings.
Do you accept nominations for myths? If
Absolutely.
Somebody has a myth and they say, we're curious if this is true, would you accept that nomination?
Absolutely. We think we've got a pretty comprehensive list, but keep them coming.
Well, I'm sure everybody loves to talk about the roads. Roads and weather people will talk about.
Absolutely.
But it's time to put some facts and some truth behind both of them, I guess.
Yes.
All right, James, thanks so much. You can watch all of the videos on YouTube. Just search for MDOT Reality Check. James, thanks for being here. Kristen, back to you.